Hey everybody, it's Spicy Guy. Today I want to give you an update on the taking of a 17-year-old teen named Elijah Al-Amin in a Peoria, Arizona Circle K parking lot. It happened on July 4th, 2019 at about 1:30 in the morning. This was just about 2 weeks before his 18th birthday. The man who took his last breath was Michael Adams, a mentally ill man who had been released from an Arizona state prison in Yuma just 2 days earlier. While Michael helped someone at the Circle K gas station fix a light on their car, Elijah pulled up in his vehicle playing rap music. The teen went inside the store to buy a soda, with rap music still blaring from his car speakers. Michael, unprovoked, walked inside the store, knifed the teen, and used the tool to tear his throat. After police caught Michael walking the nearby streets covered in blood, he admitted to the crime. Apparently, the rap music made him do it.
This is a man who spent nearly 3 years in prison and got out 2 days before this attack. Previously in prison for aggravated assault charges, his time extended for assaulting an officer while in prison. According to witnesses, Elijah was simply filling up his gas. He pulled up, he had his speakers up, he's listening to what his sister says was probably old school hip hop because that's what he loved, and he went in to buy a soda. They also say that the suspect had just helped someone fix a light on their car, and then unprovoked, as you mentioned, walks in, stabs this young man, this 17-year-old, in the back and slits his throat, and then casually walks out and walks down the street while Elijah is left to stumble outside for help, and a bystander is trying to render aid to keep him from bleeding out on the pavement. It's absolutely horrendous.
Wow, that is so terrible. Can you just tell us what we actually do know about Elijah, his life, who he was as a young teen?
You know, as heartbreaking as this is and as devastated as his family is, they can't help but lighten up a little bit when they think about him. I mean, this is a young man who was a go-getter, just 17 years old, already working 2 part-time jobs so that he could buy that car that he was driving, and he had just paid to upgrade it even more. He was going into his senior year of high school. His sister says he was even considering getting a 3rd part-time job, and when he graduated, he wanted to do something to try and create his own business. So this was a young man with plans ahead of him, and by all accounts, just a fighter who had a bright future ahead of him. And now his family is in absolute disbelief, and at the same time trying to navigate this extreme sadness, also coupled with the extreme anger that they feel from this situation.
If you want more information about the case of Elijah Al-Amin, check out the 3 videos I posted about it back in July 2019. The links to all 3 videos are in the description. So whatever happened to this obviously bigoted white man who took a precious young black teenage boy's life over rap music? Well, Michael Adams was booked on first-degree life-taking charge, but he never made it to trial. According to authorities, he allegedly passed away in his cell in April 2021 while Elijah's family waited for their day in court.
We start with an I-Team investigation, a case that's tough to forget, and the details are disturbing. Michael Adams was arrested for killing 17-year-old Elijah Al-Amin at a Circle K in Peoria back in 2019. Well, back in April, Adams was found dead in his jail cell.
And now Team 12's Erica Stapleton has more on what led to his sudden death.
Paul Adams will never forget the last call he had with his son.
I remember it very clearly. It was the day before I got a knock at the door telling me he was dead.
His son Michael found unresponsive in his cell at the 4th Avenue jail back in April.
You don't expect to bury your son. I'm saying these comments factoring in I know what he did.
He'd been in custody since July 2019 after police arrested him for stabbing 17-year-old Elijah Al-Amin to death outside a Circle K in Peoria. 29-year-old Adams had a criminal record and history of mental illness and had just been released from prison a few days before. Adams told police he killed the teen over his rap music.
Just him is my son.
A loss felt deeply by not only Elijah's family, but Paul too.
It hurts. it cuts me to the core to know that my son did what he did.
Michael's sudden death also crushing his own family. The medical examiner ruled it was natural, likely caused by cardiac arrhythmia. An MCSO deputy first noticed during morning rounds on April 17th and called for help when Adams didn't get up. We had our expert, Dr. Burton Bentley, take a look at the report.
I certainly understand why it appears suspicious given how young he is. I don't see anything in the report to suggest any other foul play or anything else unusual.
At the time he was found dead, records show Adams was in isolation with no contact with other inmates. The report shows he had a documented history of heart concerns and chest pain, and was also on an antipsychotic medication that could have had side effects.
A medicine that at times can be associated with irregular and sometimes even lethal heartbeat.
Elijah's family and Paul Adams are both independently suing several healthcare agencies that work with the state of Arizona for failing to adequately treat Adams' mental health while he was in prison up to his release, before Elijah's death.
And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't wish I could reach out to Elijah's parents and just give them a hug and tell them how sorry I am, and want them to understand how hard we've really tried to get the system to help Michael.
Today, there are lawsuits pending from both the victim's family and the life taker's father. Both parties blame the system, believing the incident could have been avoided had Michael gotten the mental health help he needed.
Adams had a criminal record and history of mental illness and had just been released from prison a few days before.
I mean, of course we want justice.
Now, a new lawsuit claims Adams showed signs of psychosis in the weeks leading up to Al-Amin's murder, but was released from prison anyway. After serving a sentence for assaulting a guard, the lawsuit accuses several healthcare agencies that work with the state of Arizona, including Mercy Care, for failing to adequately treat Adams.
They had the responsibility to make sure Mr. Adams was secure and wasn't a danger to the public.
He was arrested for killing Elijah on July 4th, his attorney at the time noting he needed help.
This is a person with diagnosed mental issues.
Adams' father also filing a lawsuit against healthcare providers and Arizona's Department of Corrections director, saying warning signs were missed while his son was in their care. Adams died in his jail cell back in April, leading the county attorney's office to drop the charges.
You have to keep moving. You can't stop.
Elijah's father relieved there won't be a trial, but still wears his son close every day.
Like, I wear his bracelet, I wear his shirt. It's just a reminder of what he was and his name, and it needs to be out there.
So what do you think? Was justice served now that Michael is gone? Or would it have been better had he served years in prison for his crime? And just to play devil's advocate a bit, what about his mental health? Should the system be to blame for letting Michael out the way they did? If you need more details about this madness to make an educated decision, check out my other videos on this. The links are in the description. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Spicy out.